Hello and welcome to our March 2026 energy forecast for the collective. The first 10 minutes or so of this will be our mystic message for the week. If you want the entire energy forecast, if you're just tuning in for the mystic message, you can come in, get our healing on demand for $11 a month and get the full energy forecast every single month as well. Okay, so the vibe right off the bat for March feels sticky. That's the word that comes through. It's the visual that I get. Sticky is kind of uncomfortable. Sticky is kind of the opposite of smooth and fluid and what we tend to kind of want and aim for. So we're coming into spring. Spring is going to be a massive portal of transformation. This winter has been a lot of shedding to kind of prepare us for that. And so we're still in this winter chunk. And we're at the end of it. And things are feeling sticky. They're feeling sticky. And it's almost this vibe of like, I get this image of like when you're going down a water slide for the first time. If you are an adult and you have not gone down a water slide in 20 years, and you decide to go down a water slide with your kids because you went to Great Falls Lodge, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't handle this like I did when I was a kid. And you feel really discombobulated. Things are moving. You're not going to be in the same space, right? Because you're in movement and things are moving, but you don't really know where you're going. Sometimes you're backwards. Sometimes you're forward. Sometimes you're side to side. Am I going to fall out of the tube? Am I going to be okay? Am I going to vomit, right? And then, like, where am I going to end up? Like, what little kind of pool at the bottom am I going to end up in? That's kind of the vibe of March. Which is great. It's going to lead us into something beautiful. Let's see how many. I've got about 8 themes happening. I'll just go through those real quick. So if you do want to tune into the full energy forecast, you know what it's about. We have some light shining on darkness. We have some UFO related activity. We have a rebirth of the earth. We have skeletons in the closet. We have a bridge to a new reality. We have final winter reflections and what those are going to be. We have some ascended masters and cosmic beings that are showing up to support us. So if you're interested in some of those later on themes, join me for the full forecast. So right off the bat, light shining on darkness. This isn't new. It's kind of been happening. But it's happening bigger. This is very collective. This is very, very collective. There is a more personal, individualized component of this that is more on the skeletons in the closet theme. But this is very collective. This is systemic. This is worldwide. This is big picture. And I think none of us are surprised because it's already happening. Secrets being revealed, and again, already happening. I keep getting this, like, the image of the dark side of the moon. And the dark side of the moon, there's a lot around it. And it's, there might be a component of it that feels like truth, and some that might be more kind of metaphorical. So the dark side of the moon, it's kind of, it's dark. We don't know what's there. Are there aliens? What is actually there? And then from the other side, kind of, maybe a spiritual or even conspiracy theory type side, which we're coming to realize a lot of conspiracy theories are not conspiracy theories. So those of us that have believed a lot of these things are getting very validated right now. But whatever is taking place in this dark side of the moon, the space that we can't go and look at ourselves, right? We can't like fly up to the moon and go see what's there. We're kind of at the mercy of what our reality is willing to share with us, right? Our kind of governments and systems, they know what's going on there, right? So there's a mirror of this idea within our kind of reality, right? There are things that we can't go find the truth fully ourselves outside of, remote viewing and channeling. So we can in those kinds of ways. But as far as our kind of physical hard facts, which is what a lot of people really enjoy, which side note we're getting away from, but what is taking place there, the dark side of the moon, the darker side of the government, the darker side of those running our reality, the dark sides of the matrix, the dark side, under the ground. Like, what is truly taking place? There is going to be big illumination. And again, big picture. And we've been seeing this happening, and it's been shocking to a lot of people. It's been really challenging for a lot of people to handle. As more comes to light, we really want to be aware of our perspective around it, which is going to come up too in kind of a bigger, broad way, because it's not going to be as doom and gloom as maybe it is presented, or as maybe as our triggers are leading us to believe. We want to start to, as the big stuff has really shocked our systems and put us in a place of fear and kind of panic and chaos, we're being asked to kind of shift our perspective a little bit so that it's not quite so doom and gloom, right? Maybe as an example, a perspective shift can look like, okay, the truth is coming out. How do we make changes until the truth comes out? So the perspective shift is not, or the perspective shift is from, oh my gosh, this is terrible, terrible things happening in our reality, within our government, within those who are kind of making decisions for our lives, to truth is coming out so everything can collapse and we can build something new, right? It's the same thing is happening, but the way we look at it can be different. So we want to be aware of our perspective and see the non-doom and gloom perspective, especially because more stuff is going to come out, and it might be fed to us in a doom and gloom type of way, but it's not. There's, even when the truth comes out, we have to remember there are still films, there are still veils over what is being given to us. We still have to read between the lines, so to speak. Okay. The next thing I'll get into before I end our mystic message here is UFO activity and extraterrestrial and interdimensional contact. More is coming. We're setting up for a bigger open contact experience on a bigger collective level. Meaning, before that time comes, more of our individual experiences are going to show up. So that can be things like channeling a being through meditation. It can be, I saw a UFO in the sky. It can be, I walked into a portal in the woods and had a crazy experience, or I saw something in my home, or whatever, right? More of these experiences are going to show up. It's going to be easier than ever before. So if you're someone who wants to have those experiences, ask for them. This is the time. I want to see something. I want to have this experience. And again, it's on a very kind of cosmic, galactic type level. And we'll get into at the end the top. There's 3 species that are showing up as closer than ever before. What is really going to help you with this contact, should you desire it? And also not just to be open to receiving it, but to also prepare your body. We don't want to go into panic. We want to really, nervous system regulation is going to be so powerful, because you can say, I want to, connect to an alien all day long, extraterrestrial, interdimensional, angelic being, ascended master. It doesn't, whatever. You can say it all day long and consciously want it, but our nervous systems are not always prepared for something like that. Whether it's childhood trauma, past life trauma, the fear mongering that has kind of been pushed on us, the movies that we've been watching since we were young that have always depicted these types of things as bad or scary, or they're coming after us, or they're trying to kill us, right? What's showing up are not that. Okay, and again, if this stuff starts to be some of the stuff that comes out, it's going to be through the lens of put you into a place of fear. That's the bullshit part. We have to read between the lines. We have to see what actually resonates. You've been working on your discernment for a reason. This is a big part of why our discernment matters, because the information being given to us, there will be some of it that feels like truth. And we're so programmed to kind of be black and white, all or nothing. And if we feel like something resonates, we take the whole thing. You can take 30% and leave 70, or you can take 70 and leave 30. Be very discerning with what you believe, what aligns with your truth, what feels right in your body. Um, but so if you really want to have an experience and get clear, have more experiences, we really have to work on opening the mind. Open your mind to any and all possibilities. Chances are you're not going to like see an alien that like looks like an alien from like a movie. They most of the time don't necessarily look that way, or they don't necessarily look like the depictions that you might find on the internet when you Google different star seeds. Um, the way that the contact takes place may not look like how you want it to or expect it to. We always kind of want like direct verbal communication, and it doesn't usually show up that way. So we have to keep an open mind, and we like really have to let go of our attachments, our beliefs, and our expectations. Without letting go of those things, it's so hard to have these kinds of contact experiences that play out in a positive manner. But also back to our first point here of kind of the light shining on darkness and kind of shifting our perspective. A lot of this is around a perspective shift, and we can't shift our perspective. So think about this pen is the thing I'm trying to look at. And if I'm attached to everything in the space that I'm in right now, if I wanted to pivot and look from this perspective, or pivot all the way around and look from this perspective, it's going to be harder to do that because I'm so attached to where I am right now. We have to let go of those attachments, or it's really hard to see things from a different angle. And this is a big part of the shadow work. Attachments, beliefs, even our spiritual beliefs. I'm not attached to any of my beliefs. There's been plenty of times where I believed something and then it evolved, and I started to see it from a new perspective and from a different angle. And so the more attached we are to our beliefs, if you're someone who's like, I can't handle being wrong, you're gonna struggle. It's gonna be a struggle. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to change your minds. It's okay to look at something differently. It's okay for two kind of opposing perspectives to be true. And that is a big part of our evolution in general. So perspective shift is a big theme showing up not just for March, but moving forward. That is how we move into something new, is we have to detach from where we're stuck, or we can't move, we can't make progress, we can't look from this different angle. Okay, and with this, so again, these are they're perspective shift type things. And our personal experiences around the way that we see things is going to then ripple and translate into a collective shift. And so it starts with you. We can't wait for everyone else to like do it all, for them to make different decisions because they made different perspective shifts, right? It starts within. We all have the ripple, right? So we're focused on your perspective and kind of tune out a little bit the noise of the perspectives out there, right? Be somewhat informed, but don't get stuck in, well, what do they think? And they're thinking this, and this is their perspective, and that is the part where you're gonna get lost. Okay? Be discerning, shift your perspective. Again, try and look at this one thing from every different perspective angle, and not just in this kind of going around way. What does it look like top down, right? Objective, eagle eye view. What does it look like bottom up, right? From Mother Gaia's perspective. So there's a lot of perspective shift that's showing up. Okay, if you are watching the Mystic Message, thank you. I will see you next week. Happy March. And then if you are here for the energy forecast, we'll keep going. Okay.